I recorded it here in this studio, um, and about over a course of about the last year, in between touring and doing other things, and it's got 20 new songs on it. They're all 3 minutes, so that if you don't like one, wait a second, another one will be right along. Yeah, I did it as a discipline for a writing discipline. Most of them are just one chord progression all the way through, verse and chorus. And I tried to, it just was something fun for me to try as a writer, and see what came out of it. Keith Olsen, when I actually first recorded Jesse's Girl with a great producer named Keith Olsen back in the 80s, who produced Fleetwood Mac and Foreigner and Pat Benatar and a lot of the big 80s albums. I brought Jesse the demo to Jesse's Girl in, and it was about 5 minutes long, and he was great at cutting the unimportant parts and just having the song. And I learned a lot from that. And actually, the whole of Working Class Dog, which was the album that Jesse's Girl came off of in 1980, they're all pretty like 3 minute songs. So again, it's just a discipline that I enjoy. The last album I had was 4 and 5 minute was one 10 minute song on it. So it's just keeping it interesting for me. It was a different recording process because I did pretty much all the instruments myself. So it was just kind of laying down a track at a time, and that was kind of a different thing rather than just going in with a band and playing the whole thing. But like you said, the hook thing, I'm very big on a hook. I love a great hook. It's the most powerful part of a song for me, and I've always focused on that. And that's really kind of where I started with every song. Found a title and tried to find a great hook for it, and then built the song from that. So it was a slightly different recording process. I'd write a song and then go in and record it rather than writing 20 songs and recording them all at once. So again, it was just something to keep it interesting and to try new things as a writer. Well, it was in 1979. I'd had 3 records out and nothing had really happened. So I was wondering what I was going to do if the music thing didn't work out. I never really gave up on it, but I was just looking for alternatives if it took longer than it had already taken. So I'd always loved to work with my hands, artistic projects, and I started thinking about becoming a stained glass master to support my family with my stained glass mastery, which was pretty insane. But I started going to a stained glass class, and there was a girl there at the class, and she was really hot, and she had a boyfriend, and she wanted nothing to do with me. So, like most writers, I went home and wrote about it. Because I wrote Jesse's Girl, it's different as a writer. When you write the song, it becomes part of you. And I've written all my own songs, and I consider myself a writer rather than a singer or performer or whatever, actor. So they become like your children. And obviously Jesse's Girl is a favorite child for sure. But no, I don't I got a couple of texts from my goddaughter and also a daughter of a friend of mine. They're both much younger, and they're in different situations, and they're singing along to someone playing Jesse's Girl over the loudspeakers. So it's got a life of its own, and I'm very proud to have written it, and I love the reaction it gets, and it, like I said, once it started to hit the movies, it took on a life of its own again. Yeah, in the 70s, came over here from Australia, and I hadn't really done anything. I had one hit called Speak to the Sky in 1972, and the teen magazines jumped on me just because it's another cute face kind of thing. So and they all went around, actually, to the ABC went around saying who's going to be the next David Cassidy, and all the magazines thought I was going to be, which I didn't, and I'm fortunate. I think it would have been a very short career for me, but they when David was leaving the Partridge Family, they actually came to my managers to talk to me about, or talk to them about me replacing him on the Partridge Family. And again, it would have been a I think not a good move career-wise. It would have locked me into a whole other thing, and I'm glad it didn't work out. But back then, it was like it was a super hot show, and I was kind of excited, going, "Wow, I could like be on American TV right now," and it was very tempting, but it didn't happen, and I'm glad. No, I've had to deal with it since I was about 15 or 16. I wasn't doing well at school. I was failing in the only life arena that mattered at the time, which was school and friendships. And I started getting, we didn't know what depression was back then. I was just considered a moody kid, and it's followed me pretty much continually. I still have to deal with it. Coping mechanisms are writing. I write about it. I've written a couple of songs about it, and I've written a book. It's all through my autobiography. Late at night, I call it actually Mr. D. I make him a third character, and how he hounds me, and what I do about that. I meditate. I talk to people about it. I've certainly been in therapy for years about it, and I uh, I think talking about it does help, and I actually talk about it in my concerts. I do a song called "World Start Turning," that it's about my depression, and the first time I kind of realized it. And I always say, if anyone out there suffers depression, you see a lot of hands go up in the audience. So I think it's a very common human condition. Um, so I always say, talk about it. Don't keep it locked inside. And that's what I've tried to do. I didn't mean to become any kind of spokesman for depression. I just talked about it because it was part of my life. The 80s hits be kind of a big drag if I got up and said, I'm just going to play my new album now. So all the hits, and we're also, the Hooters are on the show with us, and Paul Young. Every time you go away, Tommy Two Tone's joining us. John Waite and the Tubes are joining us on some shows. So it's kind of wall to wall hits because of that. And when I first went to see shows in the 60s, it was like, even the Beatles. I went to see the Beatles, and there were 5 other acts on with them, and it was amazing. I loved that. And I think that's what the package tour is about. It's variety and giving people value for the crazy money that they're being charged. I sign some old tickets now and then for fans, and they're like $12. I have an amazing band. They're the most powerful band I've actually ever played with, and we love each other, and it shows on stage. And I think the audience gets that. They pick that up from on our energy on stage. Plus, we get energy back from them. It's really a great way to feel good. I say I'm never depressed when I'm on stage.